So, Linda, you, have you not, had what we're calling a spiritual experience? Maybe something like what you saw in my write up on my own website. Would I be correct?
That's correct, Gary.
All right. And it had to do with cancer, it had to do with an orb, it had to do with a third eye, unconditional love, and lots of cool things like that, right?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Well, tell us a story.
It happened quite a number of years ago, and I had been diagnosed with an extremely aggressive kind of cancer. It was synovial sarcoma, a kind of bone cancer that did not respond very well to any kind of therapy. At least at that time, I don't know how they treat it today. The only option I had was to have my leg amputated, and they gave me about a 50% chance to live for 5 years. And if I didn't have my leg amputated within a year, I would be dead, or at least the cancer would be returned and I would be on my way out, let's say.
Hmm.
So I was like 22 years old at the time, married with a young son, and life was really good until I heard that news. And it was so devastating for me that I asked for a couple of days to really think about it. And I went off, I spent some time alone, and I was praying one night for strength. I wasn't brought up really religious, but I've always had a kind of spiritual streak, always interested in mysticism, that kind of a focus in my life. And as I was praying for strength, this golden ball of light came through the ceiling and came right up to my face. It was a light of a different dimension. It did not light up the room. It was kind of the middle of the night and was very dark. Uh, Go ahead.
Let me interrupt 1 second. Some people hearing this story at this moment would say, well, okay, this is somebody under distress, duress. She may be hallucinating. And maybe you were, I don't know. But how would you respond to that?
I probably would say if it really impacted my whole life, why would it matter?
Okay.
For me, it was a really real experience, and it took me to a very profound place that I've been journeying at the rest of my life, trying to get back to.
Well,
And
yeah,
go ahead.
um, you know, we're talking about just such experiences. Some people ask me about my experience. Well, were you just having a delusion or hallucination or something like that? And to me, it was so real that would be impossible. Yours is different than mine in that here's this orb, this golden ball of light that somehow comes from the ceiling. I presume you can see it with your physical eyes. It shows up in your face somehow. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Let me ask you. I know there's more to the story, a lot more to the story, but I'm just curious. At this moment, if you can remember, here's this ball of light, in your face, so to speak. What is your self-talk? What are you thinking at the moment?
I didn't think anything. I just watched it because it was like total amazement to see this ball of light that comes through the ceiling and come at me. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't I wasn't anything. I was just like mesmerized, maybe
Hmm.
would be the term.
Okay.
It
Well,
was fascinating.
okay. So here's the light. I'm sorry for interrupting. Carry
Yeah,
on.
that's okay. And from the time that like it came down from the ceiling and actually entered into my physical body, and it kind of went up my nose cartilage and into what I would assume would be the third eye, into the center of my head. And as soon as it hit in there, it shone this its light, I guess, on this incredible depth of love. It was like It was like I was swimming in an ocean of absolute limitless love. So I had that inside of me, and yet I had this understanding that that's that love was for me, that I wasn't alone and going through this really challenging life experience.
Well, if you weren't alone, who was with you?
That sea of unconditional love.
Now,
It had
I'm sorry, say it again.
it had a presence.
It
It
had a
wasn't.
present.
It was probably more alive than we are here. If you can imagine that, this whole experience had more life to it than my typical everyday life
Now,
experiences.
now that's interesting. Yes, and I don't recall anybody else that I've interviewed that have said it just like that. Okay, and to me, yeah, that we're just comparing notes here. Okay,
Mm.
to me, when I had my experience, it was so profound. It was like the life that you and I are experiencing now, which I'm tending to call the world within our senses, as compared to the world beyond our senses. Okay. Um, well, this seems like life to us. It's a non-event compared to and where are the words? The teemingness, the brilliance, the whatever it is of that other life. Those are my words. Are you agreeing with those? You got something else to say, or
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you call that as a senses within because that's exactly this happened inside me, and yet it was bigger than I could ever possibly be in this little human body, right? It
yes,
was just, and it didn't matter. It didn't judge me. It didn't criticize me. It didn't look at all the times I fell short. There was only love. No matter, I actually sat. That experience happened for a long time, and I actually sat there and I kind of thought about things that I had regretted from my past, and nothing mattered. And then I brought other people in, memories of other people that had, what I say, I wasn't at peace with, let's say. And I mean, it didn't matter. None of it mattered. There
yeah,
was only this pure, pure love. It was incredible.
yeah, yes, yeah. Now,
Mm.
do this for me, if you will, Linda, and thank you. That's really helpful. I think. Compare, if you will, the intensity, if that's the right word, of the love you're speaking of. Compare that to what we call love in this other world that we're in right now. The love for a spouse, the love for a pet, the love for a child. Compare the two, can you?
I don't know if I can. I mean, it's so different. It would be like on the EFT scale of 10.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I love my husband. I love my kids. They're really important parts of my life. But compared to that love, it's like everything. That love is everything. It would be like my love for my family would be like a 1 compared to a 10. It's not three-dimensional love. It's really hard to express. It's like the fabric of everything. This is a love that's a fabric of everything.
There's a statement in A Course in Miracles, which happens to be my spiritual path, and I don't have it memorized, but it goes something like this, and it's trying to give us a sense of what this unconditional love of the Creator really is. And it says something like this: take the most loving moment you've ever experienced, within the bodies, this kind of thing, in this world, and multiply that by 100, and then multiply that by 100 more, and now you have the faintest glimpse of the love that awaits you. Now,
I would totally agree. I
yeah,
mean, there's just no comparison.
yeah, fascinating. Okay, so I keep interrupting you, but the story is fascinating. So, the orb comes in, the light is there, it's doing whatever it does for you. You've got this unconditional love, no judgment whatsoever. I'm gathering you're going to tell it. I think you told me earlier before we started this recording you still have your leg.
Yeah.
You want to show it to us?
Sure. See, two legs. This is the one they were going to amputate.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
All right.
life is good. Life is good.
So what? So I gather your story is, well, maybe you should tell it, but I'm gathering this unconditional love, this orb experience, was so healing that it turned the corner for you with your cancer. But those are my words, okay? So you fill in, will you?
Let's say it started me down a totally different path. Absolutely. I had this reoccurring dream um, before I had this experience that was making me think that not having my leg amputated would be a better idea for me. And then I had this experience, and it really opened me up to a whole different world, and I started to have a lot more intuition, and I actually started taking some herbs, and that probably helped to heal the physical body. Then I had to work with the mind, right? Because I knew that there was this incredible love and support for me, and that it was possible for me to heal. So I kind of started working it that way. Did that golden orb, go poof, cure me? I don't know, maybe it did. Now, I kind of don't think it did, though, because I learned how to muscle test, and I muscle tested my supplements, all natural supplements. And I had went to see a practitioner who disagreed with some of my supplements and took me off of them and put me on totally different supplements. And I was fortunate enough that this particular type of cancer I had, if it was growing, it would create a rash on your abdomen. And when I went off all of the herbs that I tested on, I got the rash, so I knew the cancer was growing again. So talk about a leap of faith, having to
Yes.
go back. And I mean, here I am today. It really is a miracle. It's most cancer doctors and surgeons who know that I've had this kind of cancer, they say it's a miracle that they must have made a mistake in the diagnosis, right?
Well, I hear a lot of that regarding just EFT, but we're talking about something beyond EFT, beyond medicine, beyond anything imaginable that most people don't experience. So, I mean, it doesn't need to be that just automatically, this healing experience and thank you, Lord, I'm cured kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice story, okay. Um, but let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If you could get to that state again, and not just get to it, but maintain it, keep it, okay, 24/7, if you will. In that state, would disease be possible?
No.
Well, how are you so sure?
How do you know that the earth is round? I don't know. It's you just know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, how do you know that there is a God or a creative force? Some people just know,
Yeah.
you know. Some
Okay.
people just know.
It's there's the people who do healing in the spiritual realm um, will tend to say something like love is the ultimate healer. Love is more powerful than medicine. More love is more powerful than hypnosis, or for that matter, anything man-made, if you will, is a is a remedy. It's more powerful than drugs and surgery and all of that, And I buy into that big time given my experience, and that's why I'm doing this optimal EFT, which is bringing in the spiritual area so we can access that more. We can combine that, with our tool known as EFT and get to even higher levels. That's one of the things we're trying to do, so that people that are in the healing professions, if they do their own work in this regard, they will enhance what I call the pleasance of their presence, meaning their mere presence exudes more and more and more love, and that presence itself becomes healing, over and above or apart from the healing tool itself, be it medicine, EFT, or anything else. So, that's just me talking. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I would agree that love heals, particularly this love.
Yes.
This, it's it's a totally different kind of love than our human experience is familiar with. It's like way outside of our box. If you haven't experienced it, you can't imagine how much love there is for you. You have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because I sort of, in a way, pound the table for this. And when I pound the table in front of someone like you go, of course, because you've been there. When I pound the table in front of someone who's never been there, I get a whole wide variety of actions. Some are very open to it, and others are almost militant against it. Because all of this is just so strange. There's nothing in the belief system to hang it on. And so we need folks like you to also talk about this.
It's very unusual to see an orb coming through the ceiling. I totally agree. It was, but I was so desperate in that moment. It was like the dark night of the soul for me. So it was just like a light that coming to bring me some hope, I guess. When that feeling dissipated, I felt so alone because I had been at the center of the universe in this unconditional love, and then when it dissipated, it was like, wow, what I would say probably like Adam and Eve felt when they got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. It was like that, just like it was like, oh, and it took me a little bit of crying to get back to, wow, what an experience I had instead of what an experience I lost, right?
Yes. One more question I have for you, Linda. In that experience, some people use the term, well, you use a similar term. You call it like you were part of everything. I think you said something like that, did you not? Does that also equate to the term you were one with everything? Everything was one. There was no separation, or not?
In my particular experience, it was not. I was not one with everything. It was very clear that it kind of was like I was separating myself from everything in that total unconditional love, because there was like a clear boundary between me and it just washed all over me and washed all over me. And yet I know that it was inside me. But so the next time I have it, I want to be one with everything. How's that?
No, most people talk about that oneness, but that's why I want to get so many different people. If you did not experience it the way they did, then we need to know that, okay? But the ultimate thing, the ultimate thread running through all of these stories is that there's this unconditional love that is indescribable, and there's nothing in that experience accept that. That's been the one commonality throughout all of it, you know. So anyway, Linda, anything else you want to add?
I would probably also say that there was an aspect of light in my feeling of love. There was kind of a like a golden color that was part of it, but really no other visual. I explain it as a sea only because it has that kind of endless. It had that endless movement to it. There was movement,
Hmm.
almost like a wave, but it wasn't really water.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Okay.
was absolutely fabulous, and I'm working on getting back there.
Okay.
As are you.
As am I, and as I am trying to assist other people along that path. So anyway, Linda, what a delight! What an absolute delight! I think your story is going to be accepted and will be motivating to a lot of people. So my gratitude.
Thank you, Gary. And here's to both of us that one of us will find a way.
Well, I'd like to have everybody find the way.
When one person knows the way,
Yeah,
all they have to do is share,
yeah,
right?
right.
Right.
And that's where we're going. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Gary.